welcome to Wellness Wednesday mornings with Luann and Tim. How are you?
I'm well.
Look he got some rest. He's just like bing, 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 bing.
I got solid 8 hours of sleep last night.
You never do that.
Well, we finished rehearsal really early. My cast is doing so well.
Awesome.
Yeah, we finished rehearsal like before 9:30.
Nice.
So I was in bed at 10.
Right, good for you.
I hit I was out like a light. I woke up at around, I think 3 o'clock and went, oh, I get 3 more hours sleep.
You know what? I woke up at 4:30 and my alarm goes off at 20 to 5. I hate that. Because now you got to decide, right? Should I try and sleep
for 10 more minutes?
And then if you fall asleep sometimes, it's the best sleep you've had all night.
But you don't want to disturb
and then the alarm comes on and you're just like...
Now the sun was bizarre coming up this morning. Okay, first of all, we got out to our cars this morning and it was like this collection of chunky ice at the bottom of my windshield.
Yeah,
like,
very chunky. All at the bottom.
All at the bottom.
Yeah.
It was very strange.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we looked out the window of the green room and the sun was coming up and the sky was this beautiful color. And then Luann said, "Is that fleece in this?" She said, "Is it fleecing out?" This is a woman. This is a woman who used to do the weather. And she said, "Is that fleecing?" I think the word was sleet. Yeah. But she hadn't really spoken yet today, so she called it fleece.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was like a sleety rain.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the whole sky went blue. As we're standing there going, oh, look, sleet. The whole sky went black.
Yeah.
And the sun disappeared.
I hope it wasn't a reflection of our moods or anything.
Not mine.
No, me neither.
Okay, good. Because it's Wellness Wednesday.
Remember yesterday I was telling you about how much I love the dance shows?
Yes.
Love dance shows.
Was it on again last night?
No.
Oh, because I haven't recorded. I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, yeah? World of Dance, Jennifer Lopez, because, you know, poor girl doesn't have a thing going for her. She's got to work.
And who's the guy? Derek Huff.
Same
deal. Got nothing going for him either.
He is so cute.
And can sing too.
Yeah, and then there's that third judge that I can't think of.
I never know his name.
No. Well, she's being sued.
Who? Jennifer Lopez?
Yes. $6.5 million by a person named Gray EI, because Gray EI claims that he came up with the idea for the show back in 2009. He's also suing Debbie Allen, famed choreographer, actress.
Could I use that famed because Debbie Allen was in Fame?
Yes, anyway. So you see what I did there, right? Done. She's not even associated with the show.
Why is he suing Debbie Allen?
Because in 2009 he sent the show proposal to her and never heard back from her. So he thinks she took it and went to J-Lo.
His last name is EI?
Yeah, EI.
Oh.
Yeah, I get a job.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Come on.
$6.5 million.
Intellectual property or something that he didn't even like have proof that. Oh, well.
Okay, so
interesting if he can prove it.
He filed, apparently, he filed a copyright for his idea in 2010. So why is he suing 9 years later? Right?
Because maybe he just tuned in and saw that the show was a hit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe he's trying to get a date with J-Lo.
Well, more in the news about legal things with celebrities. Lori Loughlin.
Oh, gosh.
Arrived in Boston yesterday. She's in court today.
And she's not there for the marathon.
She's not there for the marathon. Ooh, that's coming up. Ooh, I have to talk to Ellen McDougall. She's local, going to the marathon. Remember?
Oh, yes, yes.
TD. Anyway, Candidate of Trust. Sorry, did I get that right? Anyway, you took me off track, Boston Marathon. Lori arrived with her husband, Massimo Giannulli. Have you seen his picture? He's had work done.
Oh, you think?
Nothing moves in his face. Anyway, they arrived in a private plane.
Oh.
They got so much money. How can they have all this money?
Well, he's a designer. He's a clothing designer, so he's got cash.
Apparently, she's in good spirits.
Yeah.
She was chatty. She signed 15 to 20 autographs.
Who wants an autograph?
Posed for photos. People who spoke to her said she was super friendly, saying, "Oh, it's no problem. It's okay. I'll pose. Don't worry about it."
Really?
Yeah.
Well, what else is she going to say? Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
she looked amazing. I mean, I saw the pictures of her. She was wearing a nice spring attire and sunglasses, and yeah, just looking like, okay, another day on the streets of Boston.
And are her daughters still in school? Do we know?
Her daughter Olivia Jade is in hiding.
Oh.
Olivia Jade is laying low.
And she was a YouTube phenom.
She has been spending time with friends and a lot of time with her boyfriend in Malibu. He's also a model, I believe.
Gee, life is rough, isn't it?
So, and she's reports have it, I've heard from, my friends, that she's very upset with her parents. She had no idea this was happening. She wasn't any part of it, and so she's very, very upset. They've ruined her
well, she
company.
The reason that
her makeup company and stuff.
The parents had to pay for the kid to get into school in the first place was because her project to apply, the punctuation was all askew. She doesn't do grammar. So you know what? I know you're a little upset with your parents, and I get it. But otherwise, honey,
she doesn't do
wait a
grammar.
minute. You'd be sitting on a beach in Malibu,
or she'd be the president of the United States. Because he can't spell and he can't say the word. Did you hear him trying to say origin? Luann, I think there's something wrong. I think there's seriously something wrong.
There are people who claim that.
He was talking about the origins of the Mueller report. If they just go back, no one wants to figure out what the origins of the report are, and that we need to find out what triggered this, like the fake dossier and all that stuff. He wants to go back to that. So he's talking and trying to say we need to get to the origins of and he says, and we need to get to the oranges of the report.
No.
And if they could just get to, he does it at least 3 times, and every time he does it, he gets this look in his eyes, like he blinks, like, why can't I say origin? And he keeps saying oranges. He does it 3 times then he repeats it. If they could just get to the origins, to the beginning of the report, they need to get back. I was
going to say, when I fumble on a word, I just find another word.
He did, but he does it 3 times, and he keeps saying oranges. It's the strangest thing to say. I'm going to show it to you later on.
That's cringeworthy.
No,
right?
it is.
That's like, ew.
I think
usually I feel bad for people who are having a time like that because I've been a broadcaster for almost 35 years, and I understand how there's a word, constituency office.
Constituency
is an
that's harder than origin,
right? Constituency. But then there are days where I can't say Lou. So everybody has a bad day. The problem is when we have a bad day, everybody knows about it.
And we're not running a country when we have a bad day.
No, we're not.
If they took the words bad and sad out of his vocabulary, he'd be lost.
Big too.
There were some very bad people doing some very sad things.
Big crowds coming
down
across
the border. At the border, it's very bad and very sad.
And it's going to be big. Big wall.
Hugely.
Big wall going up.
Big wall.
Big. Local work.
Justin Bieber had to apologize. He had a little April Fool's Day prank going on where he was dropping photos and insinuating that maybe he and Haley were having a baby.
Yes.
And he said that there got a lot of backlash from people who can't have children.
Oh,
you shouldn't tease about that kind of thing. And so he had to say, I'm sorry if we were insensitive to those who cannot bear children.
Because that was his intention, I'm sure, right? Come on. Is there such a thing as too politically correct? I think so. I mean, you know what? The kid has made some bad judgment calls in his life, as we all know. But, like, seriously.
What about
if he said, if he was dropping hints about her being pregnant, insinuating because she had gained weight, whoa, you don't do that.
Right, no. A career as a celebrity that has had no scandal. Imagine that. Imagine living to be 97 years old and having a career in theater and movies and film.
Wow, who could that be?
It's Doris Day.
Doris Day!
Doris Day is 97 years old today.
God, I loved her friggin' freckles.
Oh my gosh.
So
of course,
cute.
Doris started out as a band singer with Artie Shaw.
Yes, she was gorgeous.
And Les Brown and his Band of Renown.
Please Don't Eat the Daisies. One of my favorite songs.
So there she is, 97 years old. I don't know if that's this year's photo. She doesn't look much different. Every year she releases her birthday photo.
She does, huh?
And last year, and she gets lots of phone calls. She spends the day with friends at her home in California.
Good for her.
And last year, I remember some people came to serenade her outside her house, and she actually walked out on the balcony of her second floor of her home and gave a wave to the crowds as they sang happy birthday to her.
Oh, that's awesome.
Back in the 1970s, she formed that animal foundation. She loves animals.
She's very, very, very into animals.
So my father saw her when he was a law student in Toronto.
Really?
1940.
Was she beautiful?
He said she was singing with, I think, probably Les Brown, and he was a student at what's that law school in Osgoode Hall. Anyway, he was sitting by the stage, off to the side of the stage, and he said, and you know, in those days the band singers would sit in their chairs, and the band would play, and then she'd be sitting in her chair, and then her number would come up, and she'd get up and walk to the microphone.
Right.
That's just how it was with jazz bands and stuff. And so he was sitting and he said Doris was like sitting right there. Now back her name was Doris Happelhoff then still, or Kappelhoff. She wasn't Doris Day yet. And he said she was sitting there and she was just gorgeous and young, and he said, and she stood up and walked to the microphone. He said, and every time she got up and walked to the microphone, he could smell her perfume. Oh, he could remember the smell of Doris Day's perfume. Happy birthday, Doris Day.
Cool.
Que sera, sera.
You know what? That's the only song I can sing in my head.
Oh.
I memorized the words to that song.
Que sera, sera?
When I was a kid. I loved that song.
The Man Who Knew Too Much was the film starring Jimmy Stewart. It was a thriller. There's another thriller coming out, Luann.
What is
Joaquin Phoenix.
Oh, yes.
Starring as the Joker.
He's a weirdo.
So is the Joker.
He is the Joaquin. Have you ever seen him like interviewed on late night? He's a little
off center.
Yeah.
Anyway, he plays the Joker, and it's a psychological thriller, and it's a tragedy. Because they're looking at his perspective of life beat this poor guy up, the Joker, and it snapped his mind, and it made him want to go out and hurt people back.
Oh.
Apparently.
And that's no joke.
See what
I did there?
And neither is Wellness Wednesday. We have a great show for you coming up. Our friend Coach Katrina Francella from Coach Katrina's is first up right after this break. Welcome back to Mornings with Luann and Tim. As promised, a breath of fresh air on a spring day. It's Coach Katrina Francella. I kind of stumbled over your name the first time.
It happens all the time.
I like your name. I don't think it's hard to say.
Thank you.
But I like to call you Coach Katrina.
I like
and
that.
there we are. I said, oh, I love your window in there. All gender fitness. And you said?
Well, the window's broken, so we're getting it fixed, though.
And I said, how'd the window break? And you said?
Weather.
She's like, I don't know. Weather?
I don't know, the coldness, the hotness.
Nobody came by and threw a rock at her.
No, and you know what? It's sad, but sometimes that is a thought that goes through my mind. You know, with having my rainbow flag in the window, I sometimes fear that we might be a target for that kind of stuff. But I've been reassured it was just the change in temperature and, you know, old downtown buildings, that's all.
So let's talk a little bit about the all-gender aspect of your business, because this is a bit of a, why you're here today is talk about a sort of a change in focus, and you tell me.
Essentially when I started, I had started my own fitness journey at an all-female facility.
Right.
You know, so when I was opening my business, I wanted to, you know, maintain the clients that I had. And so I did sort of the same thing. So I opened as female fitness, but LGBTQ2S+ inclusive.
Okay.
So that was a good start. However, as time went on, I sort of realized with that I was literally just leaving out sort of one population, and I was kind of leaving out like cisgendered male, like straight men, which isn't fair. You know, although a lot of, you know, the experience that I've had or heard about, you know, around transphobia or homophobia, tends to come maybe from
cisgender males.
From cisgender males. We can't group all of them in that category, and I've realized that there are a lot of allies within that group.
Very true.
And so, you know, you know, about a month ago,
I would say more than less.
Yes.
More allies.
Yes, I think so too.
But.
And so I sort of admitted my mistake, and now instead of that, I just say all gender.
All gender.
Yes.
You know what? That's great. I often say that the way that things are going now, the way trends are moving, eventually I would imagine there's going to be a world where we don't even have things like gay bars.
Yes.
Because it's just becoming so, I mean, what do we do? I don't do anything different when I go out at night than anybody else does.
I know, yeah.
I mean, if I can be allowed to dance with a guy in a bar,
yes,
and hold hands with my partner in a bar, or I don't know, anyway.
I think a lot of the time, especially what I'm realizing with the queer youth group that I have, is that they've described that that they just feel a little bit more safe.
That's
because
true.
I'm saying I support you, I care about you, especially because there are a ton of trans kids in our community. You know, they feel like they can actually be themselves, and so you know, I wanted to display that care for everybody with my youth group, but then also with my personal training and group training clients that I had. So I wanted to kind of make sure that all the time we were always inclusive of everybody, and that especially queer folk knew that they were welcome.
Can I ask you about, we haven't discussed this in advance, I'm throwing this at you live on the air.
Yeah.
What is your take on this whole thing, where what's happening right now in the States, for instance, where they're saying that we've got to stop this whole supporting of transgenderism, that it's a fad, that it's a social media thing that's being pushed forward, that it's an agenda, that it's not real, that it's a choice, that it's attention seeking. What is your take on that, please?
Well, my heart immediately starts to race because I think of this kid and this kid and this kid that comes to Queer Club, and knowing the struggles that they deal with, you know, especially with their families sometimes, you know, saying these things to them. Like, it's hard when the media is, you know, discrediting them and saying that it's not real, it's in their head.
Or the government.
Or the government, and then, you know, they get it from their own families, they get it in their schools. And I don't believe in it, obviously, at all. I believe that there is an entire spectrum of gender and sexuality, and that we are free and should be allowed to, you know, express and explore different things. And I believe that we should, you know, be supported.
Just because it's something is right for one person doesn't mean it's right for another person, for one thing. And then also the fact that who would put themselves in a situation where your family is hating you, your society is hating you, all because they think that's a choice?
Nobody wants
This goes back to when I was growing up, and it was like they're talking about homosexuality was illegal, that was a mental illness, and that it was a choice.
Yes.
Why would I have put myself in a situation to be picked on, to be discriminated against, to be made fun of, because this was a kick for me? Like, no. People,
you wouldn't.
No. So I'm glad that people like you are offering support to young people.
Thank you.
As I got support, not in this city, but when I left town, I found support in people who were like-minded, who accepted me for who I was.
Exactly.
Huge deal. And that's all part of the wellness thing that you do at Koach Katrina's.
Yes.
It's mind, body, soul.
All of it. And it goes together. So although, you know...
got some pictures. I wonder if Michael could scroll through. You look like you have an awful lot of fun there.
We have a lot of fun.
Now, this looks beautiful.
So this is a part of our group training program. So now this could be all gender, and so there could be some, you know, dads in here as well with their little babies coming to work out, or their kids. So, you know, it's not just, you know, people think it's just for the moms, but there's single dads out there, or, you know, dads that want to come with the mom. And this is actually the reason it sparked me to come in today. This is Spencer, and Spencer is a placement student from Sioux College in the fitness and health promotion program that I graduated from. And I love having Spencer around because Spencer is non-binary. So when Spencer came for their first day, the email I had gotten from the teacher had introduced as Paige. So for the first day, Spencer introduced himself as Paige, and at first, you know, I didn't ask pronouns right away, and her did slip out of my mouth, but then I made sure to ask. And so then when we had that conversation after, Spencer told me that they would prefer to go by Spencer and they them. So the next day, so one day I had introduced as Paige, and then the next day I made sure I introduced the group. I said, everybody, this is Spencer. And then after, some people were like a little bit confused. And so it opened that conversation, and that is exactly what I wanted. So I was able to explain some of these things to them. And it's important because there are kids around. So the more that we can get kids familiar and understanding these types of things, the more open they could be, the more accepting they could be. And who knows, that could be their future, right? So now they know that they have a space. Or they might have a friend, or they might have a child. We all know somebody.
What happens if you have a child when you become an adult, you give birth, and you raise a child who is transgender?
Exactly.
At least you've been introduced to it and you understand.
Yes.
Okay, what else we got there, Mike? I think there was one. You guys party in there. I see there's costumes and hats
so that was Queer Club on.
Oh, what's this one now?
So so this was our last Queer Club on Friday. This was more trans agenda, I called it. So these were two speakers. This is Lucia and this is Claire, and these are some of the kids that attend Queer Club. So what we did was we had a little chat. These two transgender people talked about their experience, sort of either living in the Sioux or growing up in the Sioux, or they're transitioning, and so we were able to have you know, those discussions, and the kids were able to come up to them after and ask them questions. And you know, Claire had brought in some queer books that, you know, are kind of hard to find. combined, and so it was just really nice. And then after we had karaoke. So sometimes we have, you know, serious talk, and we talk about, you know, our feelings and our struggles, and, you know, connect that way. And then, you know, we have food donated by local people. A bunch of people have donated craft supplies, and now we have a queer trunk with costumes because we want to be able to put on plays. So yes, we exercise, and that is fantastic. But with, you know, my Friday nights and my queer club, that is for fun and for the kids.
I would totally, if I were a kid, a teenager, what a great place to hang out. What time on Friday nights?
So Fridays, 6 to 9 p.m.
6 to 9 p.m. You're on Queen Street.
Queen Street. So 642 Queen Street in the Paul Mall, across from the Grand Theater.
In the Paul Mall.
Yes.
What? Okay, so we've got fitness, we've got wellness.
We got wellness.
You talk about food too.
We have cooking classes.
You still do that?
We have you know, art therapy, mommy and daddy and me, paint classes.
Katrina, I love it. It's a whole other approach.
It's a community center.
It's a community center where you can actually get fit and work out, but also socialize.
Exactly.
You're amazing.
We need more of that.
You're amazing.
You're amazing.
You're amazing.
You're amazing. And look it. So so that was my old card. We can like rip it up. We can
Female Fitness. Are you ready?
Bye.
Bye, Female Fitness, and welcome to Coach Katrina, the club, community center, certified personal trainer, and it is all gender fitness and a social club.
Yes, and a social club.
Come back again.
I would love to.
Bring a guest.
I would love to.
We'll be back with more of Mornings with Luann and Tim right after this. Hi, welcome back to Mornings with Luann and Tim. That woman has an amazing energy, Coach Katrina.
Wow. She walks in the room and it's like,
Whoa!
Hey, and you know what? Good that she was here today. It's National Walking Day, folks. So there you go, a little bit of fitness for you. Get out there and maybe walk.
Yeah, whatever.
If you get outside and walk for 10 minutes, it can change your whole mood. I need to walk for a day
You
and a
know
half.
what? Yeah, for sure. That makes sense, doesn't it? Except when it's cold.
Even the fresh air.
Yeah, but you know what? When I'm cold and I'm walking like this, my shoulders ache, right?
Oh, yeah,
so it's
you're
like
not dressed properly.
No, I'm not. You're right.
So
As if I've ever walked outside in the cold in my whole life.
It's National Walking Day and it's World Party Day. You can do both at Coach Katrina's.
Right on. Walk to Coach Katrina's, have a party, and then walk back home.
Do you remember?
Done and done.
Do you remember your very first mobile phone? Did you have one in your car, or did you? Okay, I'm asking because it's amazing to think it was 1973.
What?
That was the first mobile.
Now, you mean like a cell phone, like
mobile? Well, yeah. What is a cell phone?
Well, yeah.
1973, the first mobile phone call was made in downtown Manhattan by a Motorola employee to the Bell Labs headquarters in New Jersey.
Really?
1973, and I remember my first.
I don't.
Oh, it weighed 5 pounds.
I don't remember my first
and you had to put it on a charger. There, I had that.
Really?
It weighed. It was like putting a suitcase to your ear.
You can't put that in your pocket.
No. It was
right.
No, it was in my. Well, it was in my car. I had it in the car.
Oh, right. Okay.
You put it in your car.
And did you carry it around with you?
No, I usually, but not normally. I would have it in the car, or then I'd have it in the house. Well, it was mostly. I lived in the Caribbean, so they didn't have landlines.
Oh, there you go.
I lived in the Caribbean.
Yes, pardon me.
That was when I had my first one. 1973 was.
That's
the first
a long time, man. Have they made leaps and bounds though, right?
What your phone can do now.
Oh my gosh, it's a bit scary.
Have they made a decision about phones in the classroom? Remember that whole thing?
They are leaving it up to the teachers was the last that I heard, but the legislation is in place.
They leave everything up to the teachers now.
The teachers have enough to do.
My gosh.
I'm sorry, they're busy.
You have children with autism in your classroom? It's up to the teachers.
Yeah.
Oh,
they're not trained specifically.
You want to decide whether or not you want to talk about transgender issues and gender and sex, and that's up to the teacher.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and any behavior issues, that's up to the teacher too. There's just no time. The classrooms are getting bigger, and it's just bananas.
Bananas.
It's bananas.
And then they just laid off 52 of them in Guelph.
Yes, boom.
There will be no layoffs with the Ford government. No one will be fired.
My daughter, who's a
52
teacher,
teachers
lives
in
in
Guelph.
Guelph, but she just got her first full-time contract after working part-time contracts for 10 years, and she teaches French.
Oh.
When they were going through for teachers, both my daughters, they said, oh, take French, you know, because they went to French immersion and stuff, and they're awesome at it, but...
Staying positive. It's Wellness Wednesday. It's Wellness Wednesday.
Breathe.
Not gonna bring me down. Not gonna bring me down. Coming back is the news. I hope it's good.
Yes, no.
Stay tuned.
Now, I don't know if you're familiar with Andy Cohen. I know that you are. He has a late talk show. Really hilarious, very, very funny. And he adopted a little baby boy.
He's also co-hosted New Year's Eve on...
Yes, with Anderson Cooper.
Anderson Cooper.
Yeah, they're best buds.
Okay.
He posted out, like, he doesn't want to have the baby on social media.
Sorry, single father? Adopted the baby on
right
his
now,
own?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he had a partner when he started the proceedings and then they broke up. So he has this 2-month-old and he's working with Mark Consuelos, who's married to
Kathy Lee, Regis and Kelly Ripa.
Kelly Ripa. And Mark is holding the baby and he posts a picture and the baby is wearing, 2 months old, the baby is wearing $400 baby Fendi pants. $400.
Okay, that's just sick.
2 months old.
That's sick.
I hope he puked on them.
That's sick.
You know, $400.
Take that money and give it to children who are in need.
Well, to feed them, eh? You know.
So bitter.
You know what, too? Something bad happened at Taylor Swift's house again.
Oh, what did she sing?
You're such a fan, aren't you?
Don't.
No, not at all.
What did she?
Apparently, there was this big car chase.
A car chase?
The police had pulled over or tried to pull over a vehicle because there were no plates on the vehicle. The guy led them on a high-speed chase and to avoid a crash, crashed into the front gates of Taylor Swift's house. Of all places, buddy.
Did she come out?
No. No, she waved from the window.
Like Doris Day on her birthday.
Yes, yes. So, like, imagine, though.
Crashing into Taylor Swift's gates.
And the car was stolen and, you know, of course.
Did you see that footage of the car running in over the little girl? On Twitter. Somebody stole a car, looked like a teenager. And there was some sort of I don't know why there was a camera on this house. Little 9-year-old girl and her sister playing in the front yard.
Yes.
And this car comes like, how fast was that car going?
Horrible.
Through a stop sign. And the little girl's like, and she got under the car, up against her house.
I'm sure you've seen it on the news. Oh, it looks horrible.
And then you see the kid get out of the car and run away. And he stops in the street and looks back to see what he's done. And then he runs away again.
He keeps running.
I wonder if they got that kid yet.
I don't know.
Turns out the little girl, she broke her pelvis and like a collarbone and other things. And there was a laceration. She was internal bleeding.
She has some head injuries.
But she was laughing and joking before the day was over.
She's 9 years old, and you can see in the video the car's barreling across the lawn towards her, and her cousin or her sister are playing, and her cousin goes this way, and the 9-year-old decides she's kind of jumps right in front of the car.
And they stopped the video. I didn't get to. They don't show the impact.
No, thank goodness. That would be horrible. Apparently, there was also a passenger in that vehicle.
Look,
that's the car. Yeah, see, there she is.
And he's like,
look at the dust.
I don't think whoever stole that car even knew how to drive. I think
they were saying they're teenagers, so I don't know if they were
smart enough.
Well, like, my goodness, that poor little girl. And like you said, resilient, right? The next day or the day after, she's in the hospital and she's still in critical condition, but she's smiling and such a pleasant little girl.
Do you know what today marks the history of?
What?
In Whitechapel, England, in the East End of London, they discovered the first of 11 murders that remained unsolved to today.
Jack the Ripper?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
11 people he killed. And this was the date of on this date they discovered the first body.
Was he the one?
Did
he slice their throats?
Slit their throats.
All of them.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then also gutted them.
Ew.
One lady they found with her intestines tossed over her shoulders.
Ew. Oh, that's gross.
He would take the uterus out.
He had some issues apparently.
He had some.
He's never been caught.
They said they figured he was a surgeon.
Oh.
And he was taking bodily, and just like displaying, or this one lady in her room, he spread the organs all over the place, even her breasts. And he burnt her clothes, and they said he burnt her clothes to create light so he could see what he was doing.
Oh my word! And he's never been caught?
Never caught.
Jack
but he's dead by now, because that was 1888 or something, so.
Well, I hope.
Isn't that wild?
That's crazy. I didn't know all those details.
I know. I was reading it this morning going, and if you go to Wikipedia, there's pictures of the victims.
Ew, 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 ew. Don't do it. Who's coming up next?
Oh, Wellness Wednesday, Community Living Algoma. They've got a whole new strategic plan, all kinds of great stuff, and we have a board member, Emily Kelly's with us, and John is here. He's the CEO, and we're going to have a little chat about what's going on at Community Living Algoma right after this. Welcome back to Wellness Wednesday. We call it Wellness Wednesday, Emily. Here on Mornings with Luann and Tim. John, I introduced you as the CEO. You're the Executive Director of Community Living Algoma. And Emily, 3 years on the Board of Directors.
Yes.
A director on the board. What led you to get involved with the Board of Community Living Algoma?
Mostly just to be involved with the community, and I really believe in the mission and values of CLA, so it was a good fit.
And you have a background in health as well?
I do. I'm a registered dietitian.
Registered dietitian?
Yes.
John, how long have you been with CLA now?
29 years. Almost 30.
Are you serious?
30 at the end of this month.
Oh, I think people who do that, people like you just blow me away. That's amazing. Congratulations.
I started working when I was 6.
Yeah. So, how many strategic plans have you gone through in your career? Can you even put a number to it? Or?
Probably, I would say 6 or 7.
Right.
And this being the most recent.
It's a big deal, isn't it, Emily, when you put these together? So, can you just explain to our audience, people who don't know how sort of corporations work and that sort of stuff, what a strategic plan, the purpose for it, and what it does, what role it plays in the running of the agency?
Sure. So basically, a strategic plan is a reflection of the work going on within the organization. So as a board member, we are a governance board at Community Living Algoma. So basically, we want to make sure that the organization has policies and procedures in place that lead the organization in the right direction.
In the right direction. And so, John, what would you say would be a major change in the direction, or maybe not the direction, but an acknowledgement or a recognition that wasn't there previously? So, sort of any aha moments that came out of the work with this strategic plan?
So there were a couple, I think, that are worthy of highlighting. The first being that it's very common for organizations to set about with 5-year strategic plans, and Emily, who chaired the subcommittee of the board, we had intense conversations and we landed on a 2-year. We wanted to put in place a 2-year plan as opposed to the traditional 5. And then the other, I think, critical factor, there were 4 pillars that we came out and identified as organization priorities. And it was very encouraging and exciting that we did land and identify the importance of our employees as a critical pillar in investing time and energy in the work that they do and how we support them, enhance their quality of life to make a difference for the people we're supporting.
Can I go back to the 2-year versus the 5-year, Emily? What sort of considerations led you to believe that a 2-year plan was going to be more effective than a 5-year plan?
So, as you know, there is a change in government right now.
Absolutely.
So the organization didn't want to invest a lot of resources into creating a plan that could not be applicable within a couple of years. So we decided to go with a 2-year plan, and actually it was all in-house resources that went into making this plan.
As opposed to a lot of organizations will hire outside what would you call them, consultants, to help create these strategic plans, and that can get very costly. And as you say, if things change within 2 years and you throw that plan out the window because government's changed, policies have changed, funding has changed, whatever, then you basically just said, oh, there's 3 years that we did work on that's not going to happen, right? So I think that's a really, really responsible way to approach it. And it just makes things, I mean, I don't know where I'm going to be in 5 years.
Right.
I have no idea. So, okay, that's great. So we got that done. Now, about the employees, you know, John and you and I were talking before the show, I was saying about a lot of agencies like CLA that is so client-centered care, and it's all about the people you're helping in the community and the work that you're doing. Sometimes you forget about the fact that there are people who are making that happen, and their needs get overlooked, and that's where you're talking about the employees.
Yes, it's a very interesting point there, Tim. We came to the realization as we had launched into the work that we do some amazing things, and our focus is always on enriching the quality of life of the people we support. So you tend to lose focus of the people who do the work each and every day, who are the ones who are making the difference. And at least our plan and the subcommittee recognized that we need a dedicated priority to our employees, and really investing in their growth and development. How do we demonstrate that we're working towards enriching their quality of life, which I believe will take our organization to the next level of success, and more success stories and amazing things happening for people with intellectual disabilities.
The data, I mean, the research has done that a positive, healthy working environment, wellness, that whole thing, mind, body, soul, making sure that your employees are happy and taken care of, you're going to get better results, right? You also have a lot of people, the nature of the work, it's very emotional. It can be very taxing emotionally. So there's got to be you can't overwork somebody who's involved in these kinds of social work fields, right? Personal support workers, all those kinds of, those roles that they play in helping the people who need the help. You need them to stay healthy as well. So how do you stop this burnout? How do you deal with that? How do you look at what the employees are saying and fix it?
Yeah, so one of the ways to do it is we've identified through our employee pillar, the workforce excellence pillar, that we've got to get out there and really make sure that our employees are informed. So really closing the communication gap. So if things are happening in the organization, our employees need to feel like they're connected to the entire organization and the direction of the organization, not just in the isolated area that they're working or with the individual they're working with. So a sense of belonging to something bigger than just the day-to-day work they do. The other piece we identified was employee engagement, that we want our employees and we want their voice to be heard. So as we're thinking of implementing strategies or setting about direction, that we actually have our employees engaged in those plans and having their voice be a part of it, and that establishing a sense of ownership, which we believe is going to really elevate how employees value their work and value the organization that they're working for. It's not a hidden fact in our community that there is a shortage of employees. It's happening in nursing homes, it's happening in children's mental health.
You see it, Emily, you must see it. You're out in the field, you work a couple of jobs as a dietitian. You must see that as well, the shortages in staffing.
Definitely.
So, John, what?
So we've been tackling the recruitment challenge, but so is everybody else in the community. So we seem to be competing for the limited resources that exist. And we've gotten very creative with job fairs.
You had one recently.
Just this past week we had a job fair with live interviews. And we had 60 people show up. And we feel we'll probably end up with 20 to 25 employees from that cohort of people that showed up that evening.
Wow, but you still have vacancies. You're still looking to hire.
Yes.
So how can people find out what the recruitment aspect of it? How do people find out what the jobs are and where they should be studying? What can people study to get ready for a job at CLA or agencies like CLA?
Yeah. So we would encourage people to follow Community Living Algoma on Facebook, the social media. It's become very effective. I think the job fair ad had been shared over 12,000 times, so kind of an indicator that social media does work. Okay. But also check out our website or call the office and speak to myself, Leslie Wilson, and we'll get them connected to the right people.
Leslie, and your dedication to the board, 3 years. Yes. Congratulations on that. Community Living Algoma, just in a nutshell, we should probably say what the agency does in the community. Do you want to take that one?
Yeah, sure. So Community Living Algoma supports people with intellectual disabilities, and we work to make their lives better.
Thank you for all you do, and we'll be back to say goodbye with Luann right after this. Thanks.
Thanks so much for watching today, and please join us tomorrow for
Thumb Slide Thursday!
Have a good one.